Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jeevanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadatam Bhuvikrinanti te Purita Janaha. O Lord, your words like sweet nectar refresh the afflicted. Your words, which poets have sung in verse, vanquish the sins of the worldly. Blessed are they who hear of you, and blessed indeed are they who speak of you. How great is their reward. Today, we read the chapter 29 of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, the Durga Puja festival, as the heading of the chapter. Friday, September 26, 1884. Sri Ramakrishna had come to Calcutta. It was the first day of the Durga Puja, the great religious festival, and the Hindus of the metropolis were celebrating it. The master intended to visit the image of the Divine Mother at Athar's house. He also wanted to see Shivanath, the Brahmo devotee. It was about midday. Umbrella in hand, M was pacing the footpath in front of the Brahma Samaj temple. Because Sri Ramakrishna is going to visit Shivanath's house, which is close to the Brahma Samaj temple, M is waiting in front of the Brahma Samaj temple. 2 hours had passed, but the master had not yet appeared. A little after 3, the master's carriage drove up. As soon as Sri Ramakrishna stepped out, he saluted the temple of the Brahma Samaj with folded hands. Hazra and a few other devotees were with him. M bowed before the master and took the dust of his feet. The master told him that he was going to Shivanath's house. Shivanath Shastri was one of the leaders of the Brahma Samaj, and he used to come to Dakshineswar to see Sri Ramakrishna now and then. A few minutes later, several members of the Samaj came and took him to Shivanath's. But Shivanath was not at home. Don't know whether he had informed that he will be coming there, since M knew that she was going to Shivanath, must have, but anyway, he was not there. Shortly afterwards, Vijay Goswami and several other Brahmo leaders greeted the master and took him inside the Brahmo temple. Sri Ramakrishna was in a happy mood. It says Brahmo temple, but it's not like a temple with a deity or anything, because the Brahmos, they believed in the formless aspect of God. Formless aspect, but with qualities. Sri Ramakrishna was in a happy mood. He was given a seat below the altar. There, the Brahmo devotees sang their devotional music. Vijay and the Brahmo devotee sat in front of the master. Master to Vijay with a smile. Vijay Krishna Goswami is another leader of the Brahma Samaj. And he, at the same time, he also used to visit Sri Ramakrishna. He is a descendant of the Advaita Goswami, who is a follower or companion of Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya, a great devotee. So though Vijay is following the Brahmo tenets, and as soon as he came into contact with Sri Ramakrishna, the latent devotional instincts came up. So there is a bit of misunderstanding between the Brahmos and Vijay. Master too, with a smile. I was told that you had put up a signboard here that people belonging to other faiths are allowed to come in. Narendra too said to me you shouldn't go to the Brahma Samaj. You had better visit Shivanath's house. So the Brahmos have got a board that people belonging to other faith are not welcome. They are not allowed to come in. Or in some of the Hindu temples, you can see non-Hindus are not allowed. Mainly because they go there as a sightseeing, not with a devotion. Here also they have put this board. People belonging to other faiths are not allowed. And so Narendra told, because Narendra is a member or was a member of the Brahma Samaj. That's how he came to hear about Sri Ramakrishna also, from the Brahma Samaj also. And he knew that sometimes the Brahma devotees don't treat Sri Ramakrishna very well. Once Sri Ramakrishna had gone to the Brahma Samaj to meet Narendra. Narendra hadn't come to Dakshinesha for a long time. And so Sri Ramakrishna went to Calcutta. Then went to Narendra's house and he was told that he has gone to the Brahma's temple. So Sri Ramakrishna went there. And hearing that, it was in the evening, hearing that the Paramahamsa of Dakshinesha had come, the people all excited, the congregation, they started getting up and looking towards where he is coming inside the door. And there was a bit of commotion. The preacher got annoyed. So some of them turned the light off. Big confusion. And it increased the confusion. And Narendra knew why Sri Ramakrishna had come to the temple. And he felt really hurt that the Brahmos did that. So he somehow, in the confusion, he came up to Sri Ramakrishna, took him out, and then afterwards scolded him. Why did you do that? Because of me, you had to go through all this insult. Narendra felt really hurt. So that's why he is telling, who knows, they may not treat him with due respect. So he's told Master, don't go to the Brahma Samaj. You shouldn't go to the Brahma Samaj. You had better visit Shivanath's house. You want to meet Shivanath? All right, go to Shivanath's house, but don't go to Brahma Samaj. So, but Sri Ramakrishna is not taking that into consideration. He goes wherever people chant the name of God. Whoever be the person, if the person, he hears that he is devoted to God, chants the name of God, Sri Ramakrishna will go to see him. This is what he says. If you take one step towards God, God will come 9 steps towards you. Here, some devotee, some person is chanting the name of God. Sri Ramakrishna goes out of his way to meet that person. Master is continuing. But I say that we are all calling on the same God. Jealousy and malice need not be. Some say that God is formless, and some that God has form. I say, let one meditate on God with form if he believes in form. Another meditate on the formless deity if he does not believe in form. What I mean is that dogmatism is not good. It's not good to feel that my religion alone is true and other religions are false. The correct attitude is, my religion is right, but I do not know whether other religions are right or wrong, true or false. I say this because you cannot know the true nature of God unless one realizes him. So here we come to the idea of God with form and God without form. Some say that God is formless. That's how the Brahmas say. And Sri Ramakrishna used to say the Brahmajanis of ancient, olden time and modern Brahmajanis. Modern Brahmajanis are the members of the Brahma Samaj. Now the question whether God is with form or without form is very, very old. The debate is going on. Has been going on from ancient time. Nobody has been able to resolve that through reasoning and intellect. However much you you reason that God is without any form, there will be opposing arguments to prove that God is with form. In the same way, if you say God is with form, then others can prove God is, God is formless. Through reasoning and intellect, we cannot reach the conclusion, answer to this, solve the problem, because that reality is beyond reasoning and intellect. It's beyond. Something which is beyond our intellect, how can we grasp it through intellect? It's beyond. And again, when we say with form, without form, Sri Ramakrishna says, God, if you believe in God with form, fine. If you believe God is formless, that's also fine. How can that be? Aren't they contradictory? With form and without form, can be both true? Can both be true? It may seem contradictory from our standpoint, but from the higher standpoint, from the ultimate standpoint, it's not contradictory. It's like, because we are looking from the lower level, we are looking up towards the high ideal. So we see these two, with form, without form, which is contradictory. It appears to us as contradictory. But from the standpoint of that ultimate truth, ultimate reality, God, it's not contradictory. And when we say God cannot be with form and without form at the same time, that only shows the lack of understanding. That shows that we haven't understood. That's why Sri Ramakrishna says we can realize that only when you realize God. Only after that, coming to the realization, true realization, then we say God is with or without form. See? One cannot know the true nature of God unless one realizes Him. How can we say whether God is with form or without form? Have you realized God? If you realize one really, then you will know what it is. Then we will realize that God is with form, and God can be without form also. But we haven't realized, and so we just hear something and we make our own reasoning and arguments. Sri Ramakrishna has realized it, so he could say, till Sri Ramakrishna's advent, these liberal ideas were not widespread. It is true, Hinduism had this idea that all the different paths lead to God. In Vedas itself says, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. Truth is one, sages call it by various names. So it can be, different ideas can be there, different forms can be there, various forms, various names. But that was not widespread. It was in the Vedas, that's true. But among the common people, it was not widely known. Even we may say, oh, well, some of the scriptures, some of the hymns, all this, they speak about different paths. Yes, in the Shiva Mahimna Stotram, there is one verse, it says, as the different streams having their source in different places, all mingle their water in the sea. See, as the different streams having their source in different places, all mingle their water in the sea, so, O Lord, the different paths which men take through different tendencies, various though appear, crooked or straight, all lead to thee. Here, different people take because of different tendencies. But this one adjective given, crooked or straight. So that means some paths are straight, some paths are crooked. My path is straight, your path is crooked. That's a idea. They are inherent in that, you can say. Because otherwise, why should they crooked? So it was not completely, all paths are straight leading to God. They didn't say whether crooked, straight, all lead to God. That's true. So there's a little bit of limit there. My path is straight, your path is a bit crooked. Still it will lead you, but it's a bit crooked. Sri Ramakrishna, there was no crooked at all. All paths are straight. There was no crookedness. The different paths are there to lead to meet the different nature, different tendencies of the people. That's all. Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Shaktas, Shaivas, Vaishnavas, the Brahmacharis of the time of the Rishi, and you, the Brahmacharis of modern time, all seek the same object. The mother prepares dishes to suit the stomach of her children. Suppose a mother has 5 children and fish is bought for the family. She doesn't cook pilau or kalia for all children, all of them. All have not the same power of digestion. So she prepares a simple stew for some, but she loves all her children equally. See, Sri Ramakrishna's examples are very homely from the daily life. And fish being one of the common item of food for Bengal, Sri Ramakrishna takes that example. Fish is brought a house and the mother cooks it. But all the children doesn't have the same digestive power. So those who have those by the digestive power, she prepares simple stew for them. For others, she may prepare rich dishes. So the idea is, depending upon our differences, our tendencies, our capacities, there is different paths to God. Differences, there is differences in background, differences in nature, differences in the way we are brought up, then the ideologies we follow, all these are different. So differences is a fact. And taking that differences into account, we have got so many different ways of approaching God. But all are going towards that same reality. That's what Sri Ramakrishna is hinting again and again. Do you know my attitude? I love all the preparations of fish. After saying that, he's saying, that means he's happy, he's at home with all the different forms of worship, different paths. You can see that when different people of different sects of Hinduism and also Christians and Muslims and Sikhs used to come to Sri Ramakrishna. And they all thought that he is a follower of their faith. When the followers of Shakti, Divine Mother came, Sri Ramakrishna used to speak about Divine Mother. Followers of Vishnu came, he talked according to their tendencies. At the same time, he always used to stress the idea that don't think that your path is the only. That's the important thing. All the paths go. You stick to your path. You follow this particular ideal, that's fine. Follow it. But don't think that that is the only one. No. That's often the reason for all the fights between religion. Or we always say, oh, religion is the cause of fight between people. Not it is the false or misunderstanding of the ideal, religious ideal. That's why causing the trouble. If you really know, if you really understand that all these different paths lead to goal, one goal, same God, then there will be no fight. We are fighting over the externals, the rituals, the what we do, customs, all that we fight on. Many times it has got nothing to do with religion, but still we say that is our religion. It's not our religion, it's a practice, it's a social practice. But we confuse these two and say that is our religion and you do touch this way or that way, or my religion is affected. Religion is we are considering only the secondary details. Do you know what the truth is? God has made different religions to suit different aspirants, times, and countries. See, to suit different aspirants. People have got different tendencies, different capacities, different backgrounds. So, different aspirants, times. What is suitable for olden time is not suitable for present day time. So, time changes, countries change, background change. All doctrines are only so many paths. A path is by no means God himself. See, to come to Vedanta Hall, you can take many ways. You can come by car, you can come from the city, you can come from west, you can come from the south, taking different roads. But if you say everybody should come along one road only, that's not possible. That's not the correct thing to do. Or you stand on the road and say this is the goal. No, you haven't reached the Vedanta Hall. You are all on path. Path is by no means, the road is by no means the but that's the mistake that we often make. All doctrines are only so many paths. A path is by no means God himself. Indeed, one can reach God if one follows any of the paths with wholehearted devotion. That's the important thing. Any path you like, you follow it with wholehearted devotion, with sincerity, steadfastness. You follow it with great yearning, you will reach. Whichever path be the path. That does not, the path is only a path. Your goal is somewhere else. You have to reach the goal. You follow it sincerely, you will reach the goal. Suppose there are errors in the religion that one has accepted. If one is sincere and earnest, then God himself will correct those errors. Often we have got this tendency to say that, oh, our religion is correct, the other religion is full of mistakes. Have we examined or studied our religion completely, thoroughly, and checked for any mistakes, any errors? We haven't done that. But we are always ready to see the mistakes in other religions. And if we really follow our faith, then we won't have time to see the faults in other people, other faiths, because we'll be spending all our time and energy in following our path, struggling towards reach the goal to realize God. And we instead of doing that, we spend time and energy saying, oh, there are faults in other faiths. That's why Jesus says, why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eyes? There's a big beam in my eye. I'm not seeing that, but I'm seeing the speck in your eye. So whatever faults there is in my religion, I'm not seeing that, but I am pointing out the errors, mistakes in other faith. Because that happens because we are not really keen to progress on our path. If we are really keen to progress on our path, we will be spending our time, all the time and energy on that only, instead of finding fault with other faiths. And again, Sri Ramakrishna says, suppose there are errors in the religion that one has accepted. If one is sincere and earnest, then God himself will correct those. There may be errors, but God will correct it. In the beginning of the gospel, you can see Sri Ramakrishna was asking Yam on his second visit, you believe in God with form or without form and all that. Then Yam said, sir, we should tell people that they should not worship the idol. That's not God. Idol Idol is only an idol, it's not God. And Sri Ramakrishna scolds him. This is the one hobby of you Calcutta people, bringing light to others. First, get light yourself. You are in darkness. You haven't realized God, and you are trying to bring talk about God to other people. First, first get realization yourself. Then you can tell. If you are sincere, then if there is a mistake, suppose you are following the worshipping idol. Yes. If it is wrong, then God himself, if you are sincere, God himself will correct that. You don't have to, and Sri Ramakrishna says, why should you get a headache over that? Because you are scolding. This is the hobby of you Calcutta people. Calcutta people means all these English educated people. That's how he meant the Calcutta people. So, if one is sincere and earnest, then God himself will correct those errors. Suppose man has set out with a sincere desire to visit Jagat at Puri, and by mistake has gone north instead of south. From Calcutta, you have to go to south to reach Puri and Jagannath temple. But instead, the person didn't know which way to go, has gone to north. Then certainly someone meeting him on the way will tell him, my good fellow, don't go that way, go to the south. And the man will reach Jagannath sooner or later. If there are errors in other religions, that's none of our business. God, to whom the world belongs, takes care of that. Our duty is somehow to visit Jagannath. Our duty is somehow realize our particular ideal of God. Reach that. Try to reach that instead of finding and saying that, oh, what you're following is not correct. That path is not true. It's full of mistake. To the Brahmos. The view you hold is good indeed. You describe God as formless. That's fine. The Brahmos, they are formless. Their attitude is God is without any form. That's fine. One may eat a cake with icing either straight or sideways. It will taste sweet either way. But dogmatism is not good. Dogmatism, that my faith alone is true. And Vivekananda says, that's an idea of fanatics. And the fanatics, their devotion to their faith comes with hatred for other faiths. All the people belonging to a faith other than theirs, they hate. It is with those that hatred towards other people that their love for their faith or their ideal grows. That's the fanatics, that dogmatism. That's not good. You have no doubt heard the story of the chameleon. A man entered a wood and saw a chameleon on a tree. He reported to his friends, I have seen a red lizard. He was firmly convinced that it was nothing but red. Another person, after visiting the tree, said, I have seen a green lizard. He was firmly convinced that it was nothing but green. But the man who lived under the tree said, what both of you have said is true. But the fact is that the creature is sometimes red, sometimes green, sometimes yellow, and sometimes has no color at all. Only the person who lives under the tree all the time knows that the creature sometimes is red, sometimes green, sometimes yellow, sometimes blue, and sometimes no color at all. So those person who is always in constant communion with God, that person alone can say that sometimes God is formless, sometimes God is with form, all are true. But the others, they see only one aspect and they think that's the only true, that is the only aspect. And then they fight with others. But they don't realized that I have seen only one aspect, I have seen only one side of the view, or one side of the mountain, and I see that's the whole of mountain. Again, Sri Ramakrishna gives another example. There's a tank, and there's steps leading to the tank on all four sides. Some people, Hindus take water from the tank and call it jal. Muslims take water from the same tank from another side and call it pani. Christians take from another side and call it water or aqua. Then they fight, saying that this is not pani, this is jal. This is not jal, this is aqua. This is water. Is there any meaning in that? That's exactly what's happening with the religion. They are fighting with God, fighting about God. Your God, my God. How can there be many, many gods? God is only one. They don't realize that. God has been described in the Vedas as both with attributes and without. You describe him as without form only. That's one-sided. See, God has been described in the Vedas as both with attributes and without attributes. With attributes, with form, without attributes, without form, with attributes, without form. So many different ways are there. The Brahmos describe him as without form, but with acts. So there is qualities are there. God is compassionate, God is kind, all this there, loving, all that there for them. But only there is no form. So Sri Ramakrishna says, that is one-sided. But never mind. If you know one of his aspects truly, you will be able to know his other aspects true. God himself will tell you all about them. If you are sincere, if you know one aspect properly, truly, if you are sincere, then God himself will reveal all the other aspects to you. Vijay, Sri Ramakrishna can say all this because he has practiced every single sex and faith that was there at that time. He was available to him in Calcutta at that time, like all the different cults of Hinduism, Shaktas, Shaivas, Vaishnavism, and then Christianity, Islam, all that he practiced. And why did he practice all these things? Because he wanted to know how people of different practice. In one place he says, he wanted to find out how his divine mother is worshipped by other people of faith. Then we will say, oh no, we are not worshipping divine mother, we are worshipping Shiva, or we are worshipping Vishnu, we are followers of Allah, or we are followers of Jesus. But for Sri Ramakrishna, he addressed God as mother. So when he say, I wanted to find out how mother is worshipped by others, means how God is worshipped by people of other faith. To find that, he followed exactly the main core principles of the practices, and he realized that they all seek the same goal. They all reach the same goal. Because of that realization, he is able to say, God is only one, with form, without form, with attributes, without attributes, they're all true. He is able to say because he has realized all that. Vijay still belonged to Sadharan Brahma Samaj. He was a salaried preacher of that organization, but could not obey all its rules and regulations. He mixed with those who believed in God with form. This was creating a misunderstanding between him and the Brahmo authorities. many Brahmos disapproved of his conduct. See, I told you earlier, Vijay Krishna Goswami is as a descendant of Advaita Goswami. And when he came into contact with Sri Ramakrishna, that devotional tendency has come up. And he used to come to Sri Ramakrishna and also mix with people of devotional temperament. Devotion means worship of personal God, God with form, and that is against the idea of the Brahmos. So there is a bit of misunderstanding. And the Brahma authorities did not approve of his behavior. The master suddenly looked at Vijay and began to talk to him. Master to Vijay smiling. I understand that they have been finding fault with you for mixing with those who believe in God with form. Go to the temple. Why do you go to Kali temple to meet Sri Ramakrishna? Why do you mix with people, worship God with form? They are finding fault with him. Is that true? He who is a devotee of God must have an understanding that cannot be shaken under any condition. See, that's a true devotee. Who is a true devotee? Sri Ramakrishna. A true devotee must have an understanding that cannot be shaken under any condition. Whatever happens, I have this is my faith, nothing can shake me. I have got faith in God. God, he can be with form, without form. Hold on to that faith, and a true devotee won't be shaken. Whatever happens. He must be like the anvil in a blacksmith's shop. It's constantly being struck by the hammer. Still, it is unshaken. Bad people may abuse you very much and speak ill of you, but you must bear with them all if you sincerely seek God. Sri Ramakrishna has got very good experience of bad people speaking ill of him. For the people of Dakshina, even the officials, the workers of Dakshineshaka, the temple, and the villagers, he was the mad priest. He was completely mad. Even the people who had no contact with him at all, but only heard about him, even they considered him as mad. One funny incident is there. One of the young disciples who came to Sri Ramakrishna was Hariprasanna. When Hariprasanna started going to him now and then, his family, of course, opposed. Later he became Swami Vijnananda. Family opposed him, and then one day his sister told him, elder sister, don't go there to that mad priest. I know all about him. I go to the bathing hut there on the Kali temple. I know he has turned the head of 325 young men. And all she does is she comes to take bath there. And she knows everything. He's a mad priest. This is how people speak ill of you. So Sri Ramakrishna says, you should put up with all that. He must be like the anvil in a blacksmith's shop. It's constantly being struck by the hammer. Still, it is unshaken. Bad people may abuse you very much and speak ill of you, but you must bear with them all if you sincerely seek God. You should not take those words of bad people into too much into your heart. Isn't it possible to think of God in the middle of the wicked? Just think of the ancient times. They used to meditate on God in the forest, surrounded on all sides by tigers, bears, and other ferocious beasts. Wicked men have the nature of tigers and bears. They will pursue you to do you an injury. See, wicked people, Sri Ramakrishna is comparing them to tigers and bears. So you can never trust. Without any reason, they will come and harm you. But still, even then, in the midst of them, you have to. There is no other way. Because in olden times, the sages did that. So now also we can do that if we are sincere. Wicked men have the nature of tigers and bears. they will pursue you to do you an injury. Then he is giving some practical advice to live in the world. One must be careful about these few things. First, an influential man who has much money and many men under his control. He can injure you if he wants. You must be careful while talking to him. Perhaps you may have to approve what he says, just so that he won't harm you. An influential man with a lot of money and many men under his control with a lot of power. We see that in the world all the time. Second, a dog. When it chases you or barks at you, you must stand still, talk to it gently and pacify it. You are calm, quiet, and the dog will feel that calm vibration till it will be pacified. Third, a bull. If it runs after you with lowered horns, you must calm it with a gentle voice. You don't find bulls here in Sydney, that is no problem. The dogs we have, and rich men, influential men we have. And then fourth, that's also we have. Fourth, a drunkard. If you arouse his anger, he will abuse you, naming 14 generations of your family. Here, now it's more than that, you will be hit, or you will be stabbed, shot, what will happen. But olden time, at that time, Sri Ramakrishna's time, it was only abusing you. He will abuse you, naming 14 generations of your family. You should say to him, "Hello, uncle, how are you?" He will be mightily pleased and sit by you and smoke. In the presence of a wicked person, I become alert. If such a man asks me whether I have a pipe for smoking, I say, yes, I have. Once a sadhu who was staying in the Panchavati, in the Dakshineshwar Kali temple, came to Sri Ramakrishna's room. Sri Ramakrishna, there was a lot of devotees, and Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on his bed and talking to them. But the moment the sadhu entered the room, he got up and stood with folded hands. And whatever the sadhu wanted, asked, he answered. Until the sadhu left the room, he stood there. And then after the sadhu left, one of the devotees commented, "Oh, what devotion you are showing him." Then Sri Ramakrishna said, "Well, he is a very short-tempered person. So why should I arouse his anger? Show him respect. There is sattva, rajas, and tamas in all. He has got predominance of tamas. Though he is a sadhu, he's still got a lot of tamas. So I don't want to arouse his anger." That's why he says, in the presence of a wicked person, I become alert. If such a man asks me whether I have pipe for smoking, yes, I have. Some people have the nature of a snake. They will bite you without warning. You have to discriminate a great deal in order to avoid the bite. Otherwise, your passion will be stirred up to such an extent that you will feel like doing injury in return. Sometimes, some people without any reason, for no reason at all, harm you. Then your passion will be roused up so much that you feel like returning the injury. Now, how will you explain the killing of those innocent children in Thailand? Little ones sleeping, 2 to 5 year old. What have they done? The person going killing them. So such injustice suddenly happens. You feel like something in return. You have to discriminate. You have to use your reasoning power so that your anger won't rouse up. You have to discriminate a great deal in order to avoid the bite. Otherwise, your passion will be stirred up to such an extent that you will feel like doing injury in return. The companionship of holy man is greatly needed now and then. It enables one to discriminate between the real and the unreal. In the company of holy people, you will be able to reason out what's real, what's unreal, what the important thing, what's unimportant, what is good, what is bad. All these dividing or reasoning out, it helps in the company of holy people. The master glanced around the Brahma temple and said with a smile, "This is nice too, a mixture of crystals and syrup. There are crystals and there is syrup too." It may find a bit strange. What does Sri Ramakrishna mean by that? Sri Ramakrishna, it is a reference to the practice of keeping molasses in earthen jar. They keep molasses in an earthen jar with a small hole at the bottom. So slowly, the water portion content is leaks out, and crystals are formed. So that's why he's saying there is mixture of crystals and syrup. That means the Brahmos, they are caring for the worldly life, worldly achievement, and also to realize God. They hold both. I have scored too many points and am therefore out of game. Do you know the game of knacks? It's a game of cards, and anyone scoring above 17 is out of the game. Those who score fewer points, say 5, 7, 10, are clever. So they can continue playing the game. But those who score more than 17, they have to be out of the game. I have scored too many and am out of the game. Sri Ramakrishna is to the Brahmos, saying, because they are whole to the world, doing everything in the world, leading a world life, at the same time, holding on to God, trying to realize God. That's why he's saying that you are all good, you are clever, you are holding on to both. Once Keshav gave a lecture at his house. I was present. Many people were there. The ladies were seated behind a screen. See, in those days, the ladies never came in front of the strange men or unknown people. So when there is a meeting or program, they will be sitting behind the parda, behind the screen. Like Holy Mother, she was in the Kali temple for many years, but the manager said one day, I heard that she lives here, but I have never seen her. She never came out of her room. Early morning, 3 o'clock, she will get up, finish her bath, and get inside the room. And then at noon, when people are all resting, nobody is there, then she sat outside and dried her hair. Then again go inside till 10 o'clock. So nobody saw her. Many ladies were like that. The ladies were seated behind a screen. Keshav, in the course of his talk, said, "Oh God, please bless us that we may dive and disappear altogether in the river of bhakti." So Keshav is giving his sermon and overcome or full of devotion. He is saying, "Oh God, please bless us that we may dive and disappear altogether in the river of bhakti." I said to Keshav with a smile, if you disappear altogether in the river of bhakti, then what will be the fate of those behind the screen? Those ladies behind the screen, your wives, your children, your sisters, all those people are there behind the screen. What will happen to them? By all means, dive into the river. But you had better come back to the dry land now and then. You can go into the river of devotion, but you have to come up now and then. Don't disappear in the altogether. At these words, Keshav, others burst out laughing. Live in the world like a maid servant in a rich man's house. Now, Sri Ramakrishna is, because the Brahmos are householders, he is giving instructions according to how to live in the world as a householder. Live in the world like a maid servant in a rich man's house. This example we have spoken of so many times, because that teaching Sri Ramakrishna gave to, from the beginning, he gave to M, because he is a householder. Sri Ramakrishna never asked his householder disciples or devotees to give up everything and practice spiritual practices all the time. No. Do all your duties. Hold on to God with one hand and do the duties with the other. That's what he always said. She performs all the household duties, brings up her master's child, speaks of him as my Hari, master's child, but she says is my Hari. But in her heart, she knows quite well that neither the house nor the child belongs to her. If somebody comes and she shows around, she will say, oh, Sri Ramakrishna speaks about the gardener. Our garden, this is our the lake, this is our rose garden, this is our orchard, all our. But does it anything belong to him? And Sri Ramakrishna says further, if he is dismissed, he just walks off. The maid servant is like that. She talks about the child, master's child, as my Hari, but she knows that neither the house nor the child belongs to her. Performs all her duties, but just the same, her mind dwells in her native place. She knows her house is in the village, her child is there, maybe being looked after by some relative. And the moment she is dismissed for any reason, she doesn't have any sorrow, sadness to go away from the child. Though all the time she said, it's my Hari, she's not attached to it. So Sri Ramakrishna is saying, be like that. You treat all your family, your people, as though they are your very own. Your wife, children, husband, parents, sisters, brothers, all the relatives, all your friends. Treat them as they are your very own. But you have to remember, he has added as though. That means they're not really your own. Who is your very own? God. God is the only one who is your very own. Others are there short time. They were not with us. We came alone in this world. We go alone. Nobody came with us. And when we go, however much the others say, oh, I love you so much. Nobody goes with us. We go alone. So God alone is the only one with our very own. Likewise, do your worldly duties. Fix your mind on God. And know that house, family, and son do not belong to you. They are God's. They do not belong to you. They belong to God. You are only his servant. You are like a trustee for the time being. You have been given to look after, to care for. So you do that. You're only his servant. I ask people to renounce mentally. I do not ask them to give up the world. If one lives in the world unattached and seeks God with sincerity, then one is able to attain him. Does it mean Sri Ramakrishna is giving the answer to a unasked question by the Brahmos? Can God be realized by souls? Sri Ramakrishna says, yes. If one lives in the world unattached, that's the most important thing. Live in the world unattached and seeks God with sincerity, then one is able to attain him. Only two things are necessary. Be unattached and seek God with sincerity. Then one is able to attain Him. Thank you.
The yoga class recommences Thursday. It's after the school holiday. So that's on Thursday from 10 a.m. This Friday night, we have the fortnightly spiritual evening discussion led by Gayatriprana. Next Sunday, Sri Ramakrishna continues her monthly talks on the Mundaka Upanishad. And then we've got 3 special events the following 3 Sundays, all lining up. On the 23rd of October, we have the Kali Puja celebration, and there'll be talks by Fred Schneering and Sri Ramakrishna. We'll also have the light offering ceremony to Mother Kali. The following Sunday, the 30th of October, we've got the Bhagavad Gita retreat. In particular, we're going to be studying the yoga of meditation, chapter 6, and that will be led primarily by Gayatriprana, and Sri Ramakrishna will assist as well. For that retreat, you need to come at about 9:30 to register or settle in, and it will go right through till about 4 p.m. And people can join via Zoom as well. Maybe stop and start, there'll be breaks for morning and afternoon tea and lunch. But if you're planning to come, we'd appreciate having a group of at least 10 people to make it worthwhile, the effort to set up and stage the whole thing here in Vedanta Hall. If you're planning to come, let us know. We'd like to get at least 10 participants. Then the following Sunday, the 6th of November, very special event. The theme is what happens to our kids when we fail to grow up. Now, that's the title of a book by Maggie Hamilton, and she's going to be interviewed by Walter Mason, and it'll be a discussion about this modern phenomenon of what Maggie Hamilton calls the kidult, adults failing to mature and accept the responsibilities as they grow older. And many aspects related to that. And maybe we've all got a little bit of that in us as well. Some aspects of our children and youth that we still clinging on to and not growing out of. So that'll be a very interesting session, I'm sure. We've got donation plate and donation box, and we'll conclude with listening to a guided meditation by revered Pravrajika Gayatriprana Mataji.
Bow down to thee, O thou pure existence, the one support of all the worlds. I bow down to thee, O thou pure intelligence, the one self, the multiform universe. I bow down to thee, the non-dual being, the giver of freedom. I bow down to thee, Supreme Brahman, limitless and absolute. Let us try to relax the body and the mind, gather our thoughts, and meditate upon the radiance of the divine being in the depths of our heart. The Supreme Being is the one source of all life, the one source of all strength, of all wisdom, of all love, and of all joy. The Supreme Being seems to be far away from us, but in fact, He is nearer than the heart. He is the innermost dweller of our heart. Let us close our eyes to all outward sensations and go inwards to find Him, seated there in all his glory and splendor, and waiting for us to turn our attention towards him. Let us try to turn our inner eye backwards. Focus your attention on the center of your heart. We find there, emerging out of the gloomy darkness, which is the first thing that we see. When we look very closely and with faith and trust, we can see a tiny spot of glorious light becoming visible. Believe that you are seeing. It is there. A thin beam of bliss coming from that spot of radiance rises up, becomes brighter and brighter, illumining the space within the heart. This bright spot of light is your individual consciousness. The ray coming from the spot of light, when we look closer, we can find that it connects spot of light to the very bright star of ineffable radiance shining high above in the space of your heart. Above in the heart, in the space above in the heart, is a very bright star. And in the center of your heart is the spot of light. And a golden ray joins this spot with the star. The bright star is the cosmic consciousness behind everyone and everything in this universe. Also beyond it. Your individual consciousness is really a part and parcel of the universal consciousness, the Supreme Spirit, sovereign majesty. The extremely brilliant are above, the seat of absolute intelligence, and the luminous spot of light below, the seat of individual consciousness, are connected with each other by the beautiful ray, the state of constant awareness. That is our state. Our individual consciousness is always connected with the cosmic or universal consciousness. And we experience that truth in our heart only when we turn our gaze away from the world and towards the heart. The entire space in the heart is luminous with golden radiance, a tiny radiance. Only these two entities, the bright, wonderful star, well-shaped star above, pulsating with universal consciousness, and the spot of light below, our individual consciousness, sustained by the luminous power from the star above. It's always present there. this meeting of the two, all in a state of yoga, universal consciousness feeding our individual consciousness. We are blind to it. Now in these few moments of silence and solitude, we become aware of this wonderful phenomenon that's always within the heart. The bright, very bright star above and the luminous spot below, connected by the ray of light. Let us concentrate on this phenomenon for for a few moments. And feel peace that already there. Experience the peace that is already there. Hari Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace, peace.